Oh yes, welcome along to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our weekend preview. A couple of videos in 2 days here. Jack put up an excellent video last night analysing the Arc de Triomphe, telling you all about the pace angles and who he fancies for the big race. However, we're going to be covering most of the Group 1s, I think almost all of the Group 1s coming this weekend from Newmarket and Longchamp, and we will briefly cover the Arc once again right at the end of this video. But we're going to start at Newmarket on Saturday, where we've got two excellent 2-year-old races to get stuck into. The first of which is the 225 there at Newmarket, the 6 furlong Judgment Cheveley Park Stakes. This is for the fillies, where Relief Rally tops the market 7-4. Jasna's Secret is 5-1, Soprano 5-1, Porta Fortuna is 7-1, Cherry Blossom, Persian Dreamer, Sacred Angel all 14s and 16s. Bar these. I'm going to kick things off this week, my selection. I'm quite confident in this, and I think Jasna's Secret will go in here. Originally, I would have fancied Royallieu. I think she's top notch, and she'll have form tying in with Van Dijk, who we're talking about in the race after this. But Jasna's Secret, 2 from 2 at Deauville, winning in impressive style both times. But why on earth, on a big group day over in Longchamp, is Christophe Soumillon coming over to Newmarket to ride this? He obviously knows this horse is really smart. I haven't been as impressed with Relief Rally as maybe everyone else has. I would have really opposed her if Royallieu had been in here. And I think Jasna's Secret's just going to take strides forwards. I know it's another French horse, but it is the weekend of the French. And Christophe Soumillon, like I say, why is he coming over here to ride this? 5-1. This horse won't go off 5-1. I can see it going off 3-1, 5-2 maybe on the day. So Jasna's Secret, 2 from 2. I think she'll be making it 3 from 3. Jack, who for you in this?
No, fair enough. I always find the Watnan crew, I think all their horses are usually a point or two too short, and I think you've probably made a bit of money if you're laying them all this year, if I'm being deadly honest. One for me at a price. Relief Rally, I think, is probably the worthy favourite. To be fair, I think she's actually just going to win. I know you said Christophe Soumillon's come over here. Why has he done that? But I assume it's because he's getting paid quite a lot of money to do it, more than anything else. So I'd say that's why he's probably coming over. Relief Rally, look, I think she was relatively impressive last time at York, but she beat Cherry Blossom by a length. Cherry Blossom didn't exactly frank that form in the Goff's Millions now. But Sacred Angel's the one for me. I cannot believe her price. She's 14-1. She was 4th in the best 2-year-old race this year, the Morney, behind Van Dijk and River Tiber, who are both joint favourites in the middle park, and of course Royallieu, as you mentioned, who I think is probably the best 2-year-old filly we've seen this year. I think she was pretty impressive at Ascot on better ground, then wasn't disgraced whatsoever. She was beaten 4 lengths in the end relatively comprehensively, but only 2 lengths behind River Tiber. I think she's probably a little bit better on better ground. She was green as anything at Pontefract on debut. Went to Newmarket, won very well at Ascot, gave a good account in Group 1 company last time out. A Sacred Angel has James Doyle on board as well. I think that's an absolute mega here. And Sacred Angel is 14-1. I just don't get it, Sam.
14-1, yeah, and James Doyle on the Rolling Mile at Newmarket is lethal as well. So, yeah, look, if you like that Prix Mortify, I can't put you off that as a good each way bear. Jack's made a great case there, but yeah, the French horse coming over, she's obviously pretty special. The French have had really good success on this weekend in prior years, and I think, yeah, Jasna's Secret could go in. Let's move on to the 3 o'clock at Newmarket, which is the Judgment Middle Park Stakes. Another Group 1 over 6 furlongs, this time for the boys, where River Tiber and Van Dijk top the market at 9-4. Jasor and Task Force 8-1. 12-1 About Lake Forest, and 16-1 Elite Status and the rest. Obviously, River Tiber was 3rd behind Van Dijk, Jack, in the Prix Morning. You've already mentioned that. Aidan O'Brien was quite vocal in terms of the fact that this horse isn't fully revved up, like there's still more to come in this autumn campaign that we're seeing now. This will probably likely be River Tiber's last run of the season, I'd imagine, but can he find that improvement enough to beat Van Dijk?
No, don't think so. I think Van Dijk's a little bit of a freak, to be honest. I don't think James Doyle being on board's an issue whatsoever. I could see him getting a big Group 1 double this weekend in the juvenile races. But look, what the way Van Dijk travelled all over, absolutely all of them in the morning, and then picked up in good style, giving Ramatuelle Ray. I just think she is such a classy filly, and to beat her, I think you do have to be a world beater. Obviously, Andrea Azzini's gone over to Hong Kong, but the Doyle on board shouldn't be a problem. I always overlook these Juddmonte 2-year-olds. I find, especially when they run at Newmarket or the Royallieu Mile. Look at Chaldean last year. Hopefully, I'm not doing the same here with the son of Frank called Task Force, but I think Van Dijk is going to take the world of beating. I know a lot can be said for what trainers say and how revved up something is, but you kind of have to hopefully think that everything's 100% going to the racecourse. I hope Starlust, just on another note, takes another step forward. Won the Serenia Stakes last time out. Don't think he's going to be good enough to win this, and hopefully it's Van Dijk's, and I'd like to see Starlust run a good race in behind.
Yeah, I was lucky enough at Newmarket for the open weekend. Really fantastic weekend to catch up with Ed Crisford. Also spoke to Simon about this horse, and honestly, they absolutely love him, and they wouldn't he? He's been an absolute superstar, but they think he's taken strides forward. Again, they were discussing how much kind of Ramatuelle was talked up over in France. Like, they were saying this is an absolute rocket over in France, and they went and beat this horse. And it wasn't that they were surprised they beat it, but due to the hype around Ramatuelle, they were a bit like, oh wow, okay, yeah, we have got something really special if they think that's a bit of a freak. So yeah, they're so excited by this horse. I think he is going to win this weekend. I think 9-4 is actually a fair enough price about him as well. I wouldn't have been surprised to see him sort of 6-4, maybe even money. If I'd seen him in the betting at that, it wouldn't have shocked me. So yeah, I think Van Dijk is the one in this race. Like I say, 9-4, not the worst price in the world, and I think he'll win at the Middle Park Stakes.
I know a lot gets made of it, and it's somewhat of a cliche these days, but you put the silks on the other way round. Van Dijk's even money here, isn't he?
He is.
He goes off odds on.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. Like, he'd be so much shorter if he was trained by Aidan O'Brien. But Simon and Chris, they do so well with these 2-year-olds. Discussions are that he could still go to the Dewhurst after this. They haven't ruled that out, saying it depending on how he comes out of the race, there's 2 weeks between then. And then if he were to go well in something like a Dewhurst, he's obviously going to have a play at the Guineas. That there's only one Guineas, and if things don't work out, they'd end up dropping him back for something like a Commonwealth Cup. We see that plenty often with these 2-year-olds. So I think he's an out-and-out sprinter. I think he's a speedy horse. He'll end up being a Commonwealth Cup horse for next year, but we shall wait and see. Let's head over to Paris then for the Saturday card. 2 races we'll look at there, which the first of which is the 133 at Longchamp, which is the Prix de Cadran over 2.5 miles. Trushan tops the market at 11-10. Emily Dickinson is 9-4. Run for Oscar is 8-1. 12-1. About, I think, Calling the Wind I've got in here. It might actually be bigger with some bookmakers, and bigger about the rest. I mean, I haven't looked at this race in great detail, Jack. I mean, the main focus is going to be around the top of the market. Emily Dickinson at 9-4. How much rain are we going to get in Longchamp? It doesn't seem like we're getting that much. They're saying it could be good to soft, which even for Longchamp on Arc weekend is pretty quick. And Trushan 11-10, we've seen this horse come back and display something pretty incredible last time out at Doncaster. I'd probably just say that Trushan will win this race, but I won't be having a play.
Yeah, no, I won't be having a play at all. I don't think it's a very pleasing race to try and have a bet in. If you're going to, could be a decent watch, but I can't trust Trushan or Emily Dickinson given the conditions over there. I know it's going to be warming up. I know we may even have good ground come the day. I think you probably just have to go and watch it. I think Ron for Oscar, funnily enough, actually has a big race in him. He's staying on at the line every time, bless him. It'd be one for the good guys if he was to put in a big effort here. But no, I think Trushan's definitely the one to be at, but I won't be having a play.
Yeah, we'll wait for full declarations. I'd like to see Trushan go and win it. Like, I've never been a massive fan of this horse, but I get why he's loved. He's been running for so many years now, and yeah, it would be nice to see him win this race. The other big race on Saturday is the Prix de Royallieu at Longchamp at 3:33. I've got down here. It's 1 mile 6 furlongs for the fillies and mares. Now, like we say, we haven't got the full declarations as of yet. Mellow is the 4-1 favourite. Shamida's 13-2. Ottery and Sea Silk Road 8-1. Baccara is 10-1. Sumo Sam is also 10-1 and 12-1 bar these. Now, Mellow, from what I know and the comments from Francis Graffard are that this horse will probably miss this and head to the fillies and mares at Ascot. Now, the interesting thing is, Jack, Mellow finished second in the Prix Vermeil behind Warm Heart. So if you did like Mellow, you wouldn't put people off Sea Silk Road who finished third that day.
No, but I don't think you would of fourth as well. Rue Boissonade. I mean, easy for me to say. You'll probably be able to ace that a lot better than me with that pronunciation. But no, I wouldn't put people off either of them. To be honest, I think they're 8-1 and 12-1 each, respectively. And I think Sea Salt Road, she has a massive chance here, doesn't she? 8-1. Look, she was staying on it. Is it 8-1? I think she's around 8-1.
8-1 at the moment. Like I say, when this video goes out, maybe slightly shorter, but at this moment in time, 8-1. Yeah.
No, I mean, she was staying on at the line last time out at Longchamp. I know it says good to soft ground, but it was actually a little bit better than that from the rear of the field, and then over a mile and a half as well in the Irish Oak. She was tight for room that day, managed to get out and was staying on at the line. She looks like she's crying out for this trip. I know Connections won the race last year. They had a double at Goodwood today on Wednesday as well. They're absolutely flying, the William Haggis Tom Marquardt partnership, and I just think she looks bang on for this, doesn't she? I do worry that she doesn't like to get her head in front. I have no clue how she didn't beat Poptronic at Haydock over a mile and a half, but hopefully this step up and trip will do the trick. And to be fair, I'd happily Dutch the race and put the fourth in there, the fourth from that race as well, Roy Boissonade, who's herself quite unexposed as well. But at 8-1 and 12-1 respectively, I think they're both decent bets here.
They are, yeah. The Prix certainly the race to look at. I like Mellow for the fillies and mares as well. If she does go there, and I know Tom Siegel, price wise, has put this horse up, so shortened a hell of a lot in the betting in the last week for that race. But again, warm heart heading out to the Breeders' Cup. You're going to be fancying her as well, aren't you? So the form of that Vermeil looks really, really strong. And yeah, look, I'm going to be with the same bet as Jack in terms of Sea Silk Road. I might have to put Roy Boissonade. I'm going to give you that, Jack. I think you've done a pretty good job, so I'll give you that as a decent each-way bet. Let's move on to Sunday now. We're going to cover the Arc last, but we will look at the Prix de l'Opera, which is the 10 furlong contest, another Group 1, this one for the fillies and mares once again. Now, betting for this looks like this. Blue Rose Sen tops the market at 2-1, 13-2 about Jana Rose. Jackie O is 7-1, Lumiere Rock is 15-2, Al Hussein is 8-1, Rogue Millennium is 10-1, and 16s and bigger the rest. That's the betting I've got here. Blue Rose Sen, what do I say about her? I mean, I absolutely love her. I have done all season. I know she let me down in the Nassau Stakes under what was a slightly questionable ride. There's no sort of easy way of putting that, but it all went a bit wrong that day. She probably would have gone and won that race. But in the Prix Vermeil, I think it was just a bit like the step up and trip. She didn't enjoy that. There's no doubt about that. And the trainer said she's had a bit of a long season. There's no doubt she has had a long season. And it did I questioned it when she came to this race, and I kind of thought, why are they giving this a go? I know she's dropping back in trip, but the fact she's going obviously means she's showing enough at home and enough fitness to suggest that she's ready for this. I think she probably will actually go and win this now. Via Sistina wasn't here. I can't see her in the betting at the moment. I don't know if she still is, but if Via Sistina were to go, I would be slightly worried, but the rest of the field really isn't that strong in my opinion. Maybe Lumiere Rock's the one to finish second in here after a decent run at the Curragh, but I'd have Blue Rose Sen as the winner here, Jack. That would be my opinion. What about yourself?
I really fancy Jana Rose against Blue Rose Sen. I know what you're saying about Blue Rose Sen. She is clearly the classiest in the filly, but at triple the price, I think Jana Rose is a big price at 13-2. I've actually already backed her for the Breeders' Cup Fillies and Mares Turf as well after Lumiere Rock went and won last time out. Of course, Jana Rose actually beat Lumiere Rock over a mile and a quarter at Deauville. I think that is the maximum that she wants. Of course, she's bifrancal. She gave no account whatsoever in the French Oaks in the Diane when she was beaten over 9 lengths by Blue Rose Sen, but she's clearly come on for that. That's her only blemish in her career so far. I mean, she's come on leaps and bounds, I thought, after that. I think she is a little bit overlooked. I think she's also going to be suited to Santa Anita, that's for sure. But at 13-2, I think Jana Rose can really serve it up to Blue Rose Sen here. Is she good enough to reel in Blue Rose Sen? I'm not too sure, but at 13-2, I'll definitely be having an each-way chance.
Yeah, it's a fascinating race again, but I don't think I'll be having a play in it. I'll obviously be cheering on Blue Rose Sen, but yeah, look, it's one that you might have an each way angle in here. I would have been worried if Via Sistina had gone there, but yeah, Blue Rose Sen, hopefully she can do the business. Jana Rose for Jack. On to the Prix de l'Abbaye, which comes at 4:25 on Sunday. 5 furlong contest here. Now this is always a tough race to find the winner. If Highfield Princess tops the market 130, Coeur de Pierre is 7-1, Go Atletico and Moss Tucker 10-1, 12-1 about Rogue Lightning, 16-1 about Art Power Quality and Get Ahead, and bigger the rest. again, it's not easy to have a bet in this race, is it? It really isn't. I keep saying it, but the one that maybe could be of interest in here, if the ground were to get a lot softer, would be the Dream, a huge price at 50 to 1. I think if this race is run how it's usually run, they run it off like the absolute clappers. I can just see her flying through the pack late. Whether she can get there, I don't know. I know you're a big fan of her, Jack. And the other is Pontos, who seems to run really well at Longchamp. Now, this horse has won plenty of times at Longchamp. Obviously, he's been coming over to Britain for some of the big sprints as well. The Czech course will hit the front, try and go clear by about a length and try and stay there. It's just whether he can stay there. He's a bit like Ornate in terms of the fact that he's probably like a 3.5 furlong horse. Like, if there was a race made for him, he'd do quite well over that distance. But I'd be with Pontos at 20 to 1 and the Dream at 50 to 1 at big prices. I just think Highfield Princess hasn't looked the same horse this season. I haven't been too impressed with her. She might just end up being too good for this slot, which doesn't look a great field. But that's the way that I look at it, Jack. What about yourself?
Oh, it's an absolute mess, this is, isn't it? After the Flying Five, I mean, goodness me, if you can find the winner of this one, and I tip my hat to you, I think it is nigh on impossible to really fancy something in this. I was looking and looking and looking to try and put my finger on something. There's two which I think I'll put my finger on. Get Ahead's now getting £4 instead of £3 from the boys, of course, who was second in the Flying Five. But my selection would actually be White Lavender at 16 to 1, who hasn't been seen since when second to Highfield Princess at Goodwood. I think that was probably actually the ground was a little bit deep for her that day, but her Longchamp form is actually just very, very good. She was second in this race last year, she was never really quite getting there, I didn't think. She was beaten a very small margin by the Platinum Queen last year, and then of course won this year, beating Perdica quite comfortably by a length and a half. I know she was fancy that day, she was around even money, but I think those two runs, I know she was also fourth in Group 3 there, but she obviously travels well. She's been relatively lightly raced this season. She's still only had 16 runs in her career, and she's a 5-year-old. She feels like she's been around the block for ages. So no, hopefully White Lavender can go close. It will only be a very small each way play, because I think it's a very, very tough race.
I think that's the way to play it. Small each way stakes in this. If you do like one, I wouldn't be going big in a messy race like this at all. The 5 o'clock at Longchamp is the Prix de la Foret over 7 furlongs, where Kinross is going to top the market here, I'm sure, at even money. Yes, Saturn is 5 to 1, Fang and King Gold are 10 to 1. Cachet is 12 to 1. That would be a fascinating one where she to go. And 16s bar these. This could be Frankie's big moment at Longchamp on Sunday. I don't think, actually, I'm telling you now, I'd be so shocked if he were to win the Arc de Triomphe. I just think that this is it. This is the big sign off at Longchamp. Kinross is just a 7 furlong specialist. He just absolutely loves this trip. The ground will be absolutely fine. He drifted a fair bit, didn't he, at York? And that was due to the ground, but I didn't understand that drift one bit. I think he is more ground versatile than people actually kind of talk about. I think he can run on quicker going, but soft going he probably is a little bit better, but he is just a 7 furlong specialist. He is going to win this. I think Fang was very impressive in the Prix de Pas from the front last time out. That was a Group 3 contest at Longchamp, but it's basically a trial for this race. I was pretty impressed by that. Christian Demura could be in for a big day. He's likely to ride this horse for Jean-Claude Rouget, an improving 5-year-old. So Fang would be the horse to finish second, currently 10 to 1, but Kinross, I cannot see him being beaten in this. What about you, Jack?
Yeah, no, look, we've both tried and failed to get Kinross beaten countless amounts of times. I'd like to think this would probably be the swan song for Frankie. If there is one that I'd probably say might be able to run into second at a price, it'd probably be the Maurice de Guy second, King Gold, who's been very consistent this year but very exposed. And you just think Kinross, look, he proves everyone wrong time and time again. He is the Space Blues of the last 2 years. I think he just loves 7 furlongs. He's so ground versatile, and I think he's going to go and win this.
Okay, yeah, I just can't see him being beaten, really. I think he could end up going off shorter as well. The French money will come in for Frankie, and Kinross could be a good thing on the Sunday at 5 o'clock. Now, the big one is the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe at 3:05 there at Longchamp, over 1.5 miles, where Ace Impact tops the market 7 to 2, Hookham 9 to 2, Continuous supplemented for the race 13 to 2, Westover 7 to 1, Feed the Flame 10 to 1, Bay Bridge and Fantastic Moon also declared for the race. Fantastic Moon 14 to 1, 16 to 1 about the Japanese Raider through 7 Seas 20 to 1, and bigger the rest. Free Wind at 25 to 1. That's Frankie money that's done that. That could be probably 100 to 1. if he wasn't aboard it, I think. So, yeah, let's have a look at this race then, Jack. I know that you've talked about the race, but it'd be good to talk through it with you. Ace Impact, for racing, he is the best winner. There is no doubt about it. He could be the next big superstar. He's 5 from 5. He's a Prix de Jockey Club winner. He ran last time the Prix Guillaume d'Ornano, I think was the name of the race at Deauville. That was a Group 2 contest. Jean-Claude Rouget is talking this horse ever so much. He obviously thinks a lot, and why wouldn't he? He's in the colours of Sealaway, who's done so much for us in the past, with a great bet that we had on Champions Day. We love these colours because they're also the colours of Horizon Doré as well, who goes to the Champion Stakes, and we've put that horse up at 20-1 for that race. I do think that he may just end up being a class above. I want to take him on, and I will go through my selections in a second, but you've got to say that he might just end up being way too good for these, Jack.
Yeah, I hope so. I know what you say about him being the best result for racing. I probably disagree. I'd say free win winning would be, just because I think he's going to retire after this. I think Ace Impact will retire after this. Sorry, not Frankie. I think Ace Impact will retire after this run. But if you haven't already, do go watch the ARC preview, which I recorded yesterday, just going through runner by runner and pace angles. And one of the things that I touched upon was there isn't a real true pacemaker in this. And I know the ARC's been run at a quick early pace, and they've set good early fractions in a lot of the previous years. I'm not too sure that'll be the case here. Something will go forward, but of course we need to wait to see where they're drawn to see exactly what we think would go forward. Fantastic. It was actually Mr. Hollywood who was second to Zagre at Baden. He tried to make all that day. No, Nesto was quite close up in the Irish Champions League, so it'll be interesting to see who does try and make all. But if the ground does get a little bit better and conditions do get a little bit faster, I think a turn of foot's going to be crucial here, and the ability to stay rather than the reliance on staying. So I think Ace Impact will be fine in staying the 1.5 miles. Cracksman, of course, stayed 1.5 miles. That Prix de Jockey Club, it's just a red-hot piece of form, isn't it? It's probably the second best piece of form behind the Shima Classic this year, which, of course, Westover represents. But look, Ace Impact, he is a very worthy favourite. He was given one tap behind the saddle last time out when beating Al Riffa. He was kept fresh instead of going to the Irish Champion Stakes, and I think everything's in his favour.
Okay, yeah, I find it fascinating reading it. I actually think it's a better arc than people are saying it is. I think it's actually a really strong race, and you've got the horses really that you want to be turning up in this race. Hookham and Westover, the 1-2 in the King George Continuous, the Ledger winner, supplemented for the race, exactly what you want to see. Feed the Flame was so hyped up for this race, probably should have won the Prix Niel, and he would have been a lot shorter had he had done that. Bay Bridge, obviously probably the star for Michael Stout in here. Fantastic Moon, the best German horse we think around. Through Seven Seas, the Japanese have one in here. Like, it is a really, really strong race. I just think Ace Impact, the one thing I say is the way he went past Big Rock in the Prix de Jockey Club. I know Big Rock is a tough horse. I know he's been beaten his last 2 starts by Inspire and Saturn, but they have had to really battle to get past him. Ace Impact did it so easily. It was a joke. Like, I think it takes a lot to do that to a horse like Big Rock. I'm not saying Big Rock is like, the lord of racing, but what I'm saying is he's a tough horse to grind down, and Ace Impact just seemed to do it easily. Everything else behind just couldn't do it. So I do think there's more to come with Ace Impact, and you don't have to be that impressed with his last run at Deauville. I just think he did that so easily that he'll improve again. Hookham and Westover, I can see them putting in their runs as usual. They'll probably finish close up together. I do like Continuous in here, though. I think that as much as Ledger winners don't have the best record in this race, he seems to just improve run from run. He was so impressive in the Great Voltager. I was so with him in the Ledger, it was a joke that I couldn't believe the price he ended up going off. I thought he'd end up going off a short price favourite. I think Frankie probably helped me in regards to that, but I just think he'll take another stride forward. He stays, again, does he need there to be a quick pace, which Jack mentions there might not be, potentially. If there ends up being a fair gallop on, he is going to be there at the finish, thereabouts. He'll at least place. I'd be shocked if he doesn't under Ryan Moore. And Aidan O'Brien sent this horse there with enough confidence to be his only sole runner, which is very rare for Aidan O'Brien. And the other horse that I like in here is Feed the Flame. beaten in the Prix Niel, which is the Arc Trial, and we've seen horses beaten in the Prix Niel going on to win the race. He should have won that race. There's no doubt about it. What went on with the pacemaker, I do not know. It became an absolute mess. I know Fantastic Moon won that race, and you must be thinking, oh, Fantastic Moon's the better horse in here over Feed the Flame, but Feed the Flame sectionals in the final few furlongs were quicker than anything in the race, and much quicker as well. I think that if he does get a clear run, if he does sit more closer to the pack, I'm not saying he needs to be near the front, but if he can sit sort of mid-pack and actually get a clear run, I've got a feeling, Soumyon's going to go really close on this if he does get this ride. So I'm going to be of Continuous and Feed the Flame. Jack, who are your final selections going to be?
Interesting what you say about Feed the Flame. It's a cracking race, isn't it? I feel like if Westover or Hook and Win, it'll be the one that got away. It's a bit too glaringly obvious, I feel. But no, I agree. Just quickly, I agree on the sentiment that it is a better arc than people think. Just because Ace Impact isn't trained by a Gosden or an O'Brien, we have an unbeaten 3-year-old son of Crackton here who's been an absolute world beater in the Prix de Jockey Club, and yet he's still not what people are looking for. I don't know. It's interesting.
I agree with you. I completely agree. And I mean, Jean-Claude Rouget is a legend of France. We don't see his horses over here enough, but like he is, he's a 5 from 5. He has to be favourite. Like, it doesn't matter what he's beaten over in France. He has to be favourite.
And 7-2 is a good price. I think 7-2 is a very, very, very fair price, mind you. I think he should probably be 5-2. Hookham and Westover, you don't know what the King George takes out of horses. I was reading an article on John Gosden who says it does take a lot out of horses. People kind of forget it year after year how much the King George takes out of them. And it wasn't a procession. It would have taken every ounce out of both of them. That race. So no, I think Westover has a good chance. But the two selections are, one of them will be a win bet on Ace Impact because I do think he is a fair price at 7-2. But the other one is, of course, you know where we're going with this. Bay Bridge is 14-1, and I think he's so unexposed over 1.5 miles. I know I do have an undying love for this son of New Bay, but I just think over 1.5 miles he had a new lease of life. He travelled so well, he kicked clear in good style, he showed a turn of foot which I didn't quite think he had. He recorded a final 3 furlong time which was the quickest on the day, 35 seconds flat, which was quicker than the Sorrenia Stakes at Group 3 which Starloss won, who's running in the middle part. So he clearly has that turn of foot. I think it'd be a travesty if they don't go here because of the ground, because I do think he's a bit more ground versatile, especially over 1.5 miles, what we saw at Kempton. It'd be interesting to see what Counterford does, who's running on Friday at Newmarket as a bit of a yardstick going into this. But I think Bay Bridge has a humongous chance. I do plead with the stout team that they do send him here, because I think he's going to go almightily close. If he finds Ace Impact too good, so be it. But I think I'm going to have to be proved wrong that he won't be in the top 3.
Bay Bridge, yeah, won the September Stakes, or what I like to call the Enable Stakes. She used to love having this as a prep race for this race. And 14-1, looks fair each way price. Remember what he did at the back end of last season. He took down Baaid in the British Champion Stakes. So he is a top class horse. He does have it in him. And I agree. I think it is good that they've come for the Arc de Triomphe. Whether they go for the Champion Stakes as well after this, it will just depend how he comes out the race. But we'll just have to wait and see. Let us know down in the comments who you like for the Arc de Triomphe. Honestly, I imagine there's going to be multiple selections, and you could make a case for, at least sort of 7-8 of these, I'm sure, or good cases. So yeah, we'd be intrigued to hear your selections down below. So that's it with regards to the main previews. Jack, who is the best bet going to be on the cards over the 2 days?
The best bet is going to be Bay Bridge in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. He's going to get his day in the sun in October yet again. I also have one other selection which comes on Friday at Worcester in the 4 o'clock. 16 runners go to post in a Class 2 handicap hurdle. And novices handicap hurdle, I can't believe I'm actually doing this on the preview, but our Scholar is 15-2. I thought it'd be about 4-1, but our Scholar, 4 o'clock at Worcester, very progressive. He's three from his last 3 over hurdles. He's only going up and up. The step to 2.5 miles shouldn't be a problem on good ground, and our Scholar's 15-2.
Can't believe it. You did this a couple of years ago, didn't you, on Champions Day, I remember. And I think it actually went and won, didn't it?
Yeah, it was Martello Sky at Market.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I remember. Market Rate. We'll never forget. That was actually a real memorable day of race. That's got to be one of my favourite days on track, actually. That was a proper good day. My nap. Do you know what? I'll do it, Jack. We spoke off air who my nap was going to be. I was going to go see Silk Road, and we were both confident in that last night, speaking with each other. But I'm going to go with the horse that we've gone with on Champions Day for the Champions Day. Horizon Door runs in the 4:43 at Longchamp on Saturday, which is the Qatar Prix Dollar over 10 furlongs. I think he's an absolute weapon of a horse. It wouldn't have shocked me, like, if Ace Impact hadn't have been around, it wouldn't have shocked me if the owners had tried to campaign this horse to go for an arc. It wouldn't have shocked me at all. I think he's dead quality. I was so impressed by his win at Longchamp in the Prix d'Orange last time out. He shortened then for the Champion Stakes. I mean, we put him up at 20 on our Ante-Post series. He's around 5-1 with most bookmakers now. He's a really classy animal. He loves the 10 furlong trip. He really does. He won't mind the going. He probably wants a bit of soft in the going. He's going to get that. He looks a stride above all the rest of them in here. Our RC in here, he's a horse that some people have questioned this season. He has actually shown a fair bit this season, but if Horizon Door's not good enough to beat these, I'd be so shocked. 2-1 at the moment. Don't think that's the worst price in the world, but Jack and I also wouldn't put you off Sea Silk Road in the Prix de Royallieu on the Saturday as well for a fair price about that horse. Before I sign off, I need to say just a few words. Jack, you've announced on Twitter that you're going off to Hong Kong middle of October, which is dead exciting. I mean, I'm so happy to see you start your journey in the racing industry. It'll be sad not to have you around and be able to go for a beer or whatever every couple of weeks, but I'm sure you'll be making trips back and announce when you're back in the UK. It must be a dream to go and work out there.
Yeah, no, look, it's an absolute, it's going to be an adventure of a lifetime. I mean, I've just managed to secure a place next to Happy Valley Racecourse as well. So yeah, I mean, I'll be living the dream. I know Happy Valley was definitely on my bucket list to go and visit, but now it's going to be where I work every week. So yeah, it's an absolute privilege and honour to be going over there. I'm sure I'll be back once a year or so to meet up for a beer and hopefully talk about the year of racing that would have gone. But no, I cannot wait to get started.
Yeah, I won't be shocked either if you see me out there on holiday for a week next year as well, to go visit Jack. Plenty of racing and experience. Hong Kong in general. Now, with regards to people who are worried about Next Gen Racing and what would go on with Next Gen Racing, obviously I've become a lot busier at the Racing Post. Jack's off to Hong Kong. Next Gen Racing will continue in some capacity. Jack and I are yet to decide how it's going to work. We will have a meeting and we will announce that in the coming weeks before Champions Day. Don't worry about that, what is going to happen with the channel, but we are going to keep it going in some capacity. We are going to make sure it happens. So yeah, we promise you Next Gen will never ever die. That's it.
Sounds like a foot club going to liquidation.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, we will never die. I also need to just quickly call out, I'm off to a stag do now. That's probably why it's a bit of a mess behind me. I'm off to Marbella for one of my best mates' stag do's. I need to call out the best man for arranging the stag do on Arc weekend. That is a really poor showing. And the flight back from Malaga is at 2:40 European time, which means that I'm in the sky for the Qatar Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. I missed actually the Arc de Triomphe, the opera. I think I just land in time for the Foret. I'll probably just land to see Kinross go and win the Foret. But I need to call out.
I was going to say, it means you'll have a few images of me celebrating, running around after Vape Bridges won the Arc. Perfect.
Either that or pictures of you crying. So yeah, Jim Lynch, I'm calling you out now. I need to do it. The best man at this stage. You've ruined. Actually, no, you haven't. I'm looking forward to this stag do, but I'm not able to watch all the top quality action this weekend. But I'm sure I will have a great time. Anyway, thanks for watching as always. Get your comments in down below. Give your best wishes to Jack and everything that he's achieved going off to Hong Kong. Get your naps in, and we will see you again next weekend. Thanks for watching.